Pokémania!
Pokemon is now in full mania. Here's ABC's Tom Foreman.
At Greenwood Elementary School, lunchtime is trading time, and the cards are flying.
I'll trade you this for a Gyarados. That for a Gyarados? That's crazy!
If it sounds like the kids are speaking another language, they are. The language of Pokemon.
Pokemon is an undeniable obsession with children across the country.
In 1996, Pocket Monsters Red and Green were released in Japan. The games were created by Satoshi Tajiri, who was once a writer, editor, and publisher for a game magazine called Game Freak. However, in 1989, the employees of Game Freak grew bored and decided to create their own games. The new game studio created a game called Quinty, or Mindle Palace in the US, and the game was so successful that Game Freak was able to make more games. Tajiri took charge of one of these games. He noticed how often kids stayed inside all day, but when he was a kid, he'd spend his day in the Machida Forest catching bugs. This brought the idea of Capsule Monsters, a game where players would catch bugs and be able to trade them with other players through the Game Boy's link cable. However, the idea evolved into Pocket Monsters. Production was rough due to Game Freak beginning to go into bankruptcy despite its previous successful games. Tajiri didn't even pay himself for his own work in order to have more to use on the game. Still, the games got funded by an investor known as Creatures Inc. 6 years went by, and Pocket Monsters Red and Green were released in Japan on February 27, 1996. The game's publisher, Nintendo, was skeptical when the idea was first pitched, and as such found themselves very surprised by the success of Pocket Monsters. With so many games being bought and the popularity very quickly growing, they decided to expand the series through manga and anime. In 1997, the anime aired and became the most watched children's program in Japan. Despite all of its popularity in Japan, neither Game Freak or Nintendo had any intention in localizing their new games. However, Al Khan of 4Kids Entertainment took interest in the series, but Nintendo insisted that Pocket Monsters was too boring for American audiences, because the games required patience that American children didn't have. Still, Khan offered to pay enough to localize the games and dub the anime. All he asked for was the licensing rights. Nintendo signed those rights over to 4Kids, and Nintendo of America began to work on localizing the games. Still, the name Pocket Monsters was too long, and so, in America, the series became Pokémon. In 1998, a less Japanese version of the anime was released. A few weeks after that, Pokémon Red and Blue. The series became an instant hit, and so began the Pokémania in America. More than 1.7 million units of the game sold in the first year, and Hasbro instantly began to make toys for what was quickly becoming a franchise. Just like in Japan, the anime became one of the top children's shows in America. Soon, other games made their way to America, such as Pokémon Yellow, which released with the Game Boy Color, and even Pokémon Snap for the Nintendo 64, which helped the dying system get more attention. There was even a Pokémon pinball game created. The first Pokémon movie came as well. Mewtwo Strikes Back sold out in 3,000 theaters across America in its first weekend. But something else that became a huge hit were Pokémon trading cards. The card packs were constantly selling out. Pokémania became one of the biggest crazes for children that America had ever seen. However, not everyone was impressed with the series.
Some experts say the entire Pokemon phenomenon is the enemy.
In my opinion, parents should not let their kids watch Pokemon, play Pokemon, buy Pokemon cards, have anything whatsoever to do with Pokemon.
So Pokemon is a game that teaches children how to enter into the world of witchcraft, how to cast spells, how to use psychic phenomena, how to put to work supernatural powers against their enemies, how to fantasy role play. Pokemon world is a world of the demonic, of the satanic.
Many school teachers as well as religious leaders became angry at the series for corrupting children. The card game taught them to gamble, steal, and run a black market. The games and anime taught them to fight and abuse animals. One Times News article from 1999 told of a 6-year-old who printed off counterfeit cards to sell to his classmates. But perhaps the worst thing that people feared was the fact that Pokemon was considered to be the work of the devil. 2 pastors in Colorado Springs burned a pile of Pokemon cards with a blowtorch in front of 85 children from the church. A figure was hit with a sword while a young boy ripped the limbs off of a plush. Still, not everyone viewed the series like this. Some parents saw the good in it and noticed that it seemed to make their kids become more social with others. The only thing it seemed to do was harm their wallets. But it didn't stop the news from reporting about how detrimental the series was to their children. Likewise, it didn't stop the series from growing.
There are currently 122 games, 1,063 episodes of the anime, and 22 movies. Though it may have seemed like something that would simply last a year or two, the series has only grown more and more. So, why do people like Pokémon? Maybe it was because it was a story that kids could easily relate with. A story in which a kid their age goes on an adventure with a cute pet, and not only stands up to bullies, but achieves all of their hopes and dreams. The series is still growing strong today, with very few complaints on behalf of all the fans, both new and old.